Welcome to part 4 of the Human Scavenger challenge run in Caves of Cud. Last time we just finished the Golgotha quest, and so we're turning that quest in here, picking up the next quest, which is Bethesda Susa. We're sitting at level 15, so we want to level up a little bit before we get to that Bethesda Susa quest. Maybe around level 20 or so, just a few more levels. So what we're going to do here is put on the wings, fly, go to the overworld map, and head to the center of the world map, more or less, and pick up the 2 extra guaranteed villages in Ezra and the Erd Freehold. And on the way, we find the lair of the ape god by chance. How about that? We'll just leave that, I think, for the time being. We could go make friends with him. We wouldn't want to add him to our party, of course, because that is part of our challenge to have no friends. Could fight him, but we certainly aren't ready for that at level 16. And so we'll just mark that in our notebook and move along. I usually skip those roast boar villages. Those are goat folk villages. They do have some loot, but they're kind of hit and miss, and at mid-teens level can be a bit dangerous with the various explosives and things that they have. So I tend to just skip them. If you really like doing them, let me know why. If they have a good chance for something I'm not thinking about, let me know. Maybe I'll add them into the repertoire going forward. But I like to save my time for historical sites like this one, or ruins, or things of that nature. Layers, too, of course, which are worth experience. These are hostile and easy, so kind of whatever. AV10, feeling relatively defensive for the mid game. That's pretty good. He just cracked my helmet, jerk. It looks like it's a robot-based historic site, given that even the beetles are mechanical. So we're now using the carbine. It's a Masterwork scoped carbine that we got from the Golgotha quest. I ended up disassembling my electro bow. I have a little trouble with this turret here. Using the bits from the electro bow and switching over to this 9 penetration weapon. We have tons and tons of bullets, and it's plenty good enough to do Bethesda Susa. So could have gone either way with that, but I wanted the 4-bit to make a visage, which I now have on my face, and it will allow me to identify all artifacts in vendors' menus and so on. It lets you see health and details on enemies, things like that. It's just a really good item. Kind of replaces the optical techno scanner I'm so fond of. Boy, these turrets are giving me trouble. Get some books for my effort. Really should have healed up before I ran back out here. Go fix that. We do have force bubble, of course, if we get in too much trouble. But yeah, in general, the goal here is to go to those villages, Ezra and Yerdfried Hold, get the recoilers so that we can go back at will, and then just periodically keep an eye on them, on the vendors, and see about getting tinkering recipes for what we want to find and other gear upgrades and so on. And just gives you more vendors to sell to as well, which is always useful. Just considering recipes to take. We're looking at this recipe that gives you a chance to heal to full whenever you take damage. So going down into a robot-based historic site, not sure what you're going to run into. This is a good food buff to use. And I made that from the starfruit jam added to, I think, any jerky, but I use bear jerky. And I picked that out with the Carbide Chef perk. So we'll see what we have here. Expecting robots. More of these beetles and robots. Yep. Got to watch out for Saw-hander robots in a place like this when you know there's robots coming. They can cut off arms and legs and heads and so on. These blue slimes are annoying. Ooh, turret tinkers. And Saw-handers, there they are. I knew we'd be expecting something like this. So I don't want to get in melee range with those guys. Just retreating. We do have force bubble still, just in case, but yeah, I think we're not going to do this because being in close quarters where you could come around the corner and run into one of those guys just isn't worth it at this point. There's some regular ruins. Let's see what we have here. Freezing frogs, leeches. Nothing too bad. Don't want to be frozen, of course, but we do have quite a bit of cold resistance. I think 25 right now. More turrets. You can definitely tell that when you get into the jungle tiles, you get a definite upgrade in the type of enemies you're seeing. More robots, more turrets, more stuff that can decapitate you or cut off arms and legs, that sort of stuff. Part of the reason that it's good to have a robot rep coming into the forest, if you can find it, and at least be neutral with them, not hated by them. And if you can, between them and goat folk, if you can be good with both of those groups, you won't have much trouble in the forest at all, at any level. At our level, with our items, we're feeling pretty safe. There's not much that can threaten us, really, other than the Saw-handers and things like that. The stuff that can one-shot you or cause permanent damage. Though if we did lose an arm or something, we have Uber Nostrum injectors. And also at the Yard Freehold, there is a regeneration tank where you can regenerate one time. So we have two guaranteed every game, two guaranteed options to regenerate limbs, which I find is more than enough. If you have Force Bracelet and wings and things like that, which we always do. The if that wasn't clear, other than the Yard Freehold, the other guaranteed way to regenerate a limb is the guaranteed Uber Nostrum injector that you get for the Joppa quest, the Red Rocks quest. So that's a guaranteed injector you can get there. Finding some goat folk here with rifles and probably some grenades. The grenades are what really scare me. These rifles are not very scary at this point. The brutes can hit pretty hard, but our armor's good, as I said. So it's really just the explosives we're worried about. They carry carbide weapons, which are valuable to sell. And the rifles can be disassembled for 2 bits, which are useful for tinkering. It's an Ishkar rifle. So grab that 2-bit. Like I said in the last video, I like to collect those. I end up using a lot of 2 bits relative to other numbered bits. because you end up modifying all your gear and using a lot of 2 bits. And 2 bits are also required in multiples for recoiler crafting. So, like programmable, reprogrammable recoilers, that sort of stuff, when you want to make your own. So, it's always good to be collecting 2 bits. Okay, pretty good loot there. Uh, Coming into Amen Porch, which is just outside of Ezra. Always get some guaranteed secrets off these statues. Then we can check the Earl of Amen Porch and see what his deal is, what his reputation is. He's hated by Mumpengo, which are the guys in the Tomb of the Eaters. Um, but he teaches snake oiler. So if you do the water ritual with him, you can get snake oiler, which makes all your pricing better with vendors across the world. So that's well worth getting. Then we'll head to Ezra. And we'll just do an auto explore. There's always some loot laying around, some food, 2 guaranteed secrets, of course, just like any village. And then if you eat at the oven, you get psychometry. It's a banana based meal. So you get psychometry and you can learn all your tinkering recipes if you need to. The mayor here is always loved by trees. So if you want to get good with trees, this is a good place to do it. Make them indifferent to us so that the various angry trees don't kill us. They can do a lot of damage. They're pretty strong. So that's a good way to fix that issue. If you are looking for a companion, this is a good one right here, the Warden. He carries a rocket launcher. And so if you are good with the Wardens, you can hire him for pretty cheap early on in the game. We could easily do it now if we wanted. And basically let him carry the game for you because he's very defensive. He's a robot. He shoots rockets. Very good companion. Of course, we're not going to do that in this game. And then Six Shrew here is one of the best vendors in the game. Second best, I'd say. Standard vendor. Grab a Sphinx Salt Injector. Chris Steel Boots. Nanoweave Vest is also quite good, but quite expensive. Just get rid of some of our junk that we've picked up along the way. Have a good number of grenades there. All these weapons. Stacking up credit swedges now, too, which is pretty useful. Good value, no weight. Nice to carry around as a trade good. Nice to pick up some herberries here. I think he always carries some. It's like witchwood bark, but doesn't cause confusion and heals for a lot more. So always good to have on hand. There's a little look through my weapons and armor. This person, if you do the water ritual with them, which you always want to do, will give you Reshbeth secrets and teach you some mod recipes. So that was Two-Face. That's a nice one to have. Since we've got a visage on our one face, we can have a second face slot for something else if we want it. Pick up the Ezra recoiler so we can come back quickly. She also sells cybernetic implants if you're looking for those. I don't feel so bad about selling a few books here and there at this point in the game. We're level 16 now. The amount of XP the books give is getting dramatically less. I'm going to go through now and learn all the recipes for injectors and grenades at the very least. See what else we can learn using our psychometry buff from the food. You don't often find yourself making injectors in a normal game, at least I don't. But once in a while, you find the ingredients for them and you can whip them up. Grenades, on the other hand, are quite useful when you need them. Freeze grenades, in particular. EMP grenades are very good. You can carry a lot of the game with explosive grenades, like Type 2 and 3 are very good. I've decided for certain there's going to be a challenge run where I only do damage with grenades. It's going to be based on a tinker, and we're going to start with grenades, and we're only going to use grenades. I'm going to figure out a way to do it. I think that might be fun. We'll see. Let me know in the comments if you think that's a good idea. I think it'd be fun. It'd be hard with the AoE damage. Grenades oftentimes kill players, so I've certainly been killed by grenades before. But they do a lot of damage, and seems like a good way to do like a pure tinker build. Mm, it's debatable whether you do ruins in this area. The deep forest here is tier 7, I believe. Could be tier 8. Either way, very dangerous. If you pop down in it and there's a bunch of trees and you can't see very far, bail out because there can be all kinds of nasty stuff. You don't want to be fighting at level 16. So here's your freehold. Go around and get our guaranteed secrets. Here's the kitchen. There's always free food laying around. Excuse me. If you want beguiling, a high level beguiling, you can get it there. It's a triggered effect. Over here in the hospital, you get guaranteed. There's the regeneration chamber I was talking about. But you get guaranteed injectors and then a guaranteed cybernetic as well. So that's valuable for us to sell. And the warden here is another good companion if you want it. But they also sell cybernetics, guaranteed credit wedge. Let's see what they have. Nothing interesting for us right now. Biodynamic power plant, though, on the first find would be a fantastic find on any other character, any other Trucan. That is my favorite cybernetic. Here's the rock tumbler I was talking about in the last video. We can throw our rough gemstones in it and then just wait a few turns and it will tumble them to smooth, which gives them a little extra value, somewhere between 50 and 100 drams worth of extra value, I think. Nice little way to get some free money. Plasma grenades are really good. There's our handrail. How about that? So we got to find a way to buy that. He's also got 6 and 5 bits down below this if we needed them. We do have one 6-bit. If we're doing handrails, we probably want 2 of them. So getting 2 6-bits would be good. You also need 6 bits to modify them. Oh, there's a spiral borer as well. Advanced toolkit would be nice, but spiral borer beats Bethesda Susa on its own. So that's our 44 dram solution to one of the harder quests in the game. So a really good vendor find here. I mean, he's guaranteed, but really good inventory list for him. Easy trade with all those gemstones as well. So that's really solid. Big pickup there. We just massively increased our power level just by stopping by the freehold. Chrome Pyramid, how about that? Just hanging out. Neutral denizen of the freehold, just hanging out, smoking some hookah, just like trans-dimensional robots do on their day off. Here's Tilly, our favorite vendor, always carrying some good gear. Nuclear cell wouldn't be bad to have. I like to collect those and have a couple of them going into spacer pistol going into the Tomb of the Eater's quest. Since it's so long, it's good to have a lot of battery. And nuclear battery cells last a really long time compared to everything else we've found at this point. Spacer pistol's a little too expensive. 2,700 at this point after buying all that other stuff. We're not going to be able to cut it. But we should be able to get that nuclear cell, I think. Before somebody says so in the comments, yes, I know the crayons can be used to cheat items into the game, but this wouldn't be much of a challenge if we were using stuff like that to get the Kessel face or whatever we wanted at this point in the game. So just sell them, just vendor trash for us. Well, I knew I was carrying around Slog's Inoculus for some reason. There we go. Random Snapjaw just hanging out here too. The freehold attracts all sorts of people slash creatures to hang out in it, which is kind of cool. It's a nice little village. I like it. Got the recoil back to here. Did I buy the Yurt Freehold recoiler? I did not. I was in such a hurry to get back here and learn this with psychometry for no reason. I didn't have to be in a hurry. Well, mistakes were made. Mine on the handrail and the spiral borer. There's all my tinkering recipes. Not many. Most of them I just got off of. Oh, we can make one of those. Oh, we can make one of these too. How about that? See, like I said, sometimes you get the ingredients, so nice to know the recipes. Might as well. So that was a 9 penetration carbine. We'll tinker up a 13 penetration handrail, which is just a tremendous upgrade. Now, obviously, this is going to be very expensive to shoot in terms of charge. So we're not going to just get rid of the carbine. We want that available to us for trash mobs. But we've got the handrail now for the really tough stuff. If you were wondering, that temporal fugue is coming from the historic item I picked up. The sword gives us that. I don't actually have any mutations. Pick up rivers and lakes since I'm wading through those, and you really don't want to get lost in a river or lake. I'm starting to think about heavy weapons, but we've got pistols, so we're thinking about pistols some more too. We'll be getting all that stuff online soon enough. That handrail came out masterwork just by chance. So that's fancy. Nice to have. Yeah, so I'm good to go on Bethesda Susa. But we do not have. Oh, we do. We have Mechamist reputation high enough. Just has to be over 250 in order to get onto the bottom floor, which is a holy site for them. So you can pick up 225 in the 6-day stilt by water ritualing the Mechamist leader there with the tactful perk. Gives 225 total. Spring turret grenade. Those are really cool. Makes little turrets, 3 of them for that one. That could be the centerpiece of my grenade challenge, maybe. Because then it's like creating allies. Stock up on more bullets. My thinking here is that we want as many bullets as we can buy from this guy. Every time we come here, we're buying him out because there's a possibility that he dies later on. So I like to stock up because he's the best source of those bullets in the game. There's plasma grenades Mark II, high explosive grenades Mark II as well. Both very good. EMP grenades are great for taking off reflective shielding, so might buy all of those. Wooly isn't bad as an item mod, gives you a little bit of resistance to fire and cold. Still carrying around the spine fruit jam, going to put it to use. All this food stuff that you collect in large numbers is valuable and weightless, so you can carry it around as long as you want. Guess we're going to look at some credits wedges now. So pick those up. Good deal. EMPs are for robots and mostly reflective shielding, which are on cherubs and the Gershnephlim. And the other 2 grenades, the plasma grenades, pair well in case we ever get flamethrower. Makes it more powerful. You probably saw that in my guide video. Still have psychometry on, so we can learn those. And then the high explosive Mark IIs, if you need to kill something and don't have a good option, they can usually do the trick. So get death throwing to be able to throw those better. That makes it less likely that they blow up within range of you, which you definitely don't want happening. Just swing by Joppa and see if these vendors have anything of interest. Argyle in particular. But this guy has some painted stuff periodically, grenades and injectors as well, periodically. So we'll check both. Hey, flamethrower, what do you know? Was just talking about that. So yeah, take my money, please. I'm going to use the flamethrower. Thanks. Looks like we're going to have enough. No trouble. Still have some books to sell too. So the trick here is going to be getting a 4-bit to craft it up. I don't think we have any. There's flamethrower. Oh, we do. We have 2 of them. Fantastic. What we don't have then is oil. So we're just going to head north and go get some oil here in a minute. Check out this ruin on the way. Literally nothing but a secret for another ruin. Like, there's nothing here. Your princess has moved to another ruin. So I know we've got some secrets to trade in. We've got a couple books left. There's 2 secrets we got from the Ezra vendor. Always guaranteed to give you 2. So that's fantastic. Lots of experience there. No, I hadn't done the water ritual with this guy. Always worth doing to get physic for free, basically. See if the gunsmith has any interesting guns. At this point, I'm not really looking for anything, I don't think. We've got the handrail and we've got the flamethrower. What more do you need? Spacer pistols, I guess. Admired by flowers. Another painted bottle here. Hey, another secret to trade in. Getting lucky with those. Well, I guess 2 of the 3 we just got were guaranteed. That last one was luck. It's nice to know where all the little guaranteed items are. Really gives you a massive power boost. So, on that note, if you haven't watched my 4-part guide on mastering the True Can, even if you're a mutant player, go watch it because there's a lot of discussion about guaranteed items there. It can really smooth out the RNG on these runs, any run. So obviously now I'm thinking heavy weapons got to be coming online soon because of flamethrower. So that's the new priority all of a sudden. So we'll be going into tank so that we're not slowed. The first perk there in heavy weapon reduces the weight of heavy weapons that we carry, which is nice too. And we've already got, we set ourselves up on this character actually to end up around 23 strength, which is where we're at, 23 or 24. So it not only increases your carry weight, which is fantastic, but gives you those heavy weapon skills if you need them. And in a debate of do I take double handrails versus a flamethrower, probably I'm going flamethrower most of the time because it's cheaper and easier to run a flamethrower off of oil than it is to run hand cannons because they're so expensive to charge. And the crowd control that comes off of the flamethrower is just huge. Massive defensive bonus. So that's why we're doing that. Crystal Coronet for only 630. That's caught my eye. Let's see what we can do. Could trade that handrail. I just crafted it up. I could sell it and craft some more. Probably not going to use it at this point, to be honest. See what the books do. About half. I keep going back to it. I know that's what I should do. The 6 bits cost like what, 60 or 100 drams maybe to buy them, which is what we did. We got two of them, and then this is worth 790. Like, that's just money. And every 6 bit we get, basically, we can turn into a handrail. It's masterwork, which means it's worth more than it would otherwise be. So we'll just buy some books back then with the extra cash and then trade those books in for experience. I figure. Sweet. So up to the asphalt mines then, which is where we can get some oil. Just fly over all this asphalt. That's pretty fantastic. We'll head down. Just have to be careful of getting caught on fire mostly. We do have 10 or 15 fire res, but still got to watch out. Go ahead and pick up all this oil we find. Free battery. Sure, I'll take that. Thanks. Might as well tinker this up probably. Now we've got some oil to use with it. Oh, forgot to put the helmet on. That's a big upgrade. Oh, only have 5 heat resist at this point? Interesting. Thought I had more than that. But we're up to 12 AV at least. I am inspired. Let's see what we can make with it. I considered Dawn Glider Tail to get fire resistance there. But let's just go for some HP effects. Kind of already knew a recipe that was better than that, but can't win them all. Yeah, so we're just going to keep using our carbine unless we get a really difficult mob. Then we'll switch into our flamethrower now that we have it online. One thing you just got to watch out for here in the asphalt mines is that enemies don't walk through your oil patches before you can get to them because they'll drag asphalt into them and contaminate them. Also, the fire snout pigs can light them on fire, so you don't want that to happen either. So positioning is kind of key here when you're trying to gather up oil. But you'll find, I don't know, 3 to 6 oil patches probably. I'm just estimating, but that many per floor. And each one has on average maybe 50 or 60 drams, I think. Maybe call it 40 to 60 drams of oil. So if you're looking for money, that's a good way to make some money is to stop off at the 6-day stilt, pick up some water skins, and then come fill them here. And you can just keep going deeper and deeper and getting more and more oil. But also, if you find that flamethrower, you essentially have infinite ammo as long as you can find your way back here, get oil, and not run out mid-fight. So one of the things I like to do mid to late game, I guess, is tinker up a programmable recoiler or reprogrammable. Set it to the lowest floor you've explored so far in the asphalt mines. Do one for the 6-day stilt as well. And then you can just refuel your flamethrower at will for free. Now, one big downside here is obvious with the flamethrower compared to laser weapons or guns or whatever, is that oil as an ammo is much, much heavier than any other option. And so having our build integrate strength into it definitely helps with that. So you're already going a bit of strength, like 23, to do heavy weapons, and that's going to boost your carry weight quite a bit. So, I mean, it's a full circle, right? If you're prepping for heavy weapons, then you're prepped for the flamethrower use as well and carrying its ammo around. So I honestly don't have any trouble in games like this where I'm a flamethrower build, essentially. I don't have any trouble with carry weight, generally speaking. And I don't even need to resort to the hover crafts. What are they called? Hover boards, I think, that add weight in your floating spot, or anything like that. If you do, tinkering is always a good option to make your armor weigh less with the willowy perk or mod. You can also learn to tinker negative spheres of negative weight. See if I can get that name right. Each one of those is negative 10 carry weight. And you pick one up guaranteed. There's ours. You pick it up guaranteed in the waterlogged tunnel. So there's lots of different options for getting around that issue. Obviously, right now we're really close to our carry weight, so we're probably about done picking up oil on this run. But we're going to keep going deeper because on Strata 5, you get a guaranteed laser pistol, credit wedges, and a floating glow sphere, which, while we don't need, is worth about 150 drams probably. And of course, if you're a cook and you like health related food buffs, this is a great place to butcher up a bunch of crab meat, which is good for HP buffs. You can find some other cooking items in here as well. The asphalt can be used for, is it fire resistance and thawing effects? I think you can drink a dram of asphalt to thaw yourself. Somebody will probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the case. Right here, these are the type of enemies you got to watch out for. I killed that one pretty easily, but they can come in electricity, cold, fire, and acid forms, all of which are quite dangerous. They hit really hard. If you don't have resistances to the thing they do, then you're going to be in trouble if you get melee range. Luckily, if you're following my guides, you ought to have the force bracelet available, and so that can keep them off of you and prevent all of their damage quite easily. Never mind that they don't like the flamethrower very much either. At this point, just throwing things on the ground to make extra weight availability so I can carry more oil. Of course, there are plenty of other ways, better ways to get money, um, in terms of like going to in-game areas and finding end-game liquids and things like that. But that's a little cheesy, and so we're staying away from that sort of stuff in this game, in this playthrough. And so this is one that's very easily accessible to every character, doesn't require any tricks, feels very fair. You know, you have to fight to get this oil out of here at this level. We're not at a ton of risk with 12 AV and some heat resist and so on, but you know, it can be dangerous down here. So that purple set of bones over there to the right is what we're headed for here on Strata 5. That's our guaranteed drop. Keep butchering up too much meat. It's heavy. Solar cell as well, basic toolkit, can't have it all. You get a data disk. We got Sleep Grenade 3, and then everything else I said as well. Laser pistol is 9 penetration. So if you don't have a 9 penetration weapon at this point, this is a great place to get a guaranteed one. Also has high accuracy, obviously, being a laser weapon. I can't move. I can't teleport away. One option here is to pop the force bracelet, and then you can teleport away. Otherwise, we can drop some junk and then run. There we go. Got out. Now to get rid of some of this weight, see if anybody has anything interesting. Ubinostrum injector there, if we needed it. I've got one though on hand. I think. Oh, maybe not. Oh yeah, there it is. Really what we're looking for are tinkering recipes. Turn the visage back on so we can actually identify these things. Of course, it's a cybernetic. And so there's another optical techno scanner, just rubbing it in our faces that we're not using that this game. There were some 2 bits there I could have bought, but check out the Ezra vendors. Just see if I can learn anything else here with the psychometry food buff. Let's see, 6 shrew have anything good for me? Solar cells, handrail, light rail, if we needed them. We don't. Get some silver nuggets to reduce our weight. Trade some of that excess oil over. Could buy salve injectors. Never a bad idea to stock up on those. Also, not a terrible idea to grab that flashbang grenade. You need that for the recipe to cure color blindness, if you ever get that. And I always feel like they're hard to find after I get color blindness and I'm looking for the flashbangs. I'm never able to find them. So could be worth grabbing that early. I don't do it. There's the programmable recoiler and a thermocask. So a thermocask, always good with flamethrower build because it increases your heat damage, but it also defensively increases your resistances to hot and cold. So all around, really great body sod armor. Probably my top pick, second only to the high energy thermocask, which is just the upgraded version. Programmable recoiler, though, as I've been mentioning, is always very, very useful. At least make one to the 6-day still, probably the asphalt mines. And then if you're delving through caves, you can save your progress essentially by programming a recoiler to wherever you're at. So we'll grab that. I do generally try to go for the high energy thermocask. And honestly, without it, even without either of them. The flamethrower is enough. You don't need anything special. I think the developers have effectively imagined they've balanced the flamethrower by um, making its ammo so heavy and relatively rare. But honestly, I don't think it's enough. It's just probably the best weapon in the game. And it's really hard to see a downside. If you've got 23 strength and you reduce the weight and have the carry weight for its ammo, it's like there's not really a big downside. It's just good straight through to the very end game bosses. So I'm getting that recoiler now that I forgot to pick up earlier. Foolish error. And then I'm looking at these 8 bits metamorphic cores. See if we can't get a few of those. Just have them on hand. Mostly for Tinker 3. Not many recipes in Tinker 2. Not any that I know of that require 8 bits, but there might be. Could be some mods that require 8 bits as well, depending on what you're modding and how many times and so on. So good to have those. Go see what Tilly has. More Chris Steele items, spacer pistols. Boy, those are expensive. You're going to be better off tinkering these. And again, it comes back around to spacer pistol helps the flamethrower build because it stops them from being able to put the fires out and it reduces their heat resistance by negative 100, essentially to zero. So it makes your crowd control go through the roof. It makes your damage go through the roof. But it's really only necessary on those in-game bosses, the cherubs, the Gersh Nephilim, things like that. So it's more of a, I guess it's more of a win more weapon than anything. Certainly, if you're ending your game at Tomb of the Eaters, like we're planning to do here, and getting the minor victory or lesser victory, which is what I do with all daily runs and essentially the challenge runs and stuff like that. You might as well just end at Tomb of the Eaters, I guess, in my opinion. After that, it kind of is just tedious more than anything. You've already won. So when you're doing that, you don't need spacer pistols. You don't need gas tumblers or anything else to make the flamethrower better. It's just good enough on its own. There's anti-gravity boots. It'd be nice to have those. I do like being able to fly without any fail rate. They also work indoors, which is useful in Two of the Eaters floor 2, where you have those holes you can fall down and die. We don't like that to happen, and anti-grav boots can prevent that. For now, we're just going to get the 3-bit. Still holding on to that Nanon mod. I mean, if we go with flamethrower, we're not going to worry about Nanon. That's more of a handrail type thing to do. That recoiler, I think, might have been to the what are they called? Is it the Newly Sentient Beings Guild? Their home base? I'm not exactly sure. Nope, still skipping those. Some ruins, sure. We're at level 17, almost 18. Getting very close to being ready for Bethesda Susa. There's 18. Jewel encrusted weapons are nice to find. Good money in those. There's a unique hated by Craigsmensch. That's kind of useful to kill. Those are the rock dudes at Bethesda Susa. So, hey, look at that. Our temporal fugue weapon was finally useful to light those guys on fire. Of course, if I was too worried, I could just whip out my flamethrower. There's that guy down. Craigsmensch still don't like me, but still worth getting him. The Craigsmensch are probably your biggest hurdle at Bethesda Susa on most characters, because a weapon with PV9 only just is good enough, really. There's polyhedral rings, those are worth something. But flamethrower just chews through the Kriegsmensch. And anything that's PV10 or better, so handrails are amazing. Anything like that is going to chew through them as well. But most players, most characters are going to find themselves with PV8 and PV9 weapons going against them the first time. So it can be a bit challenging. Fire damage is really good against them. So just having some kind of answer that isn't a basic gun is a good idea, no doubt. Whoops, not trying to repair that. Just trying to get it. Two-Face takes 6 bits, which we don't have. Be nice to get one of those later on. Got to watch out for those sowers, the red ones. They throw grenades at you. Not grenades per se, but they're seeds that explode. Yet another electro bow. It's funny how you get seeds like this, where it's just like that's the 5th or 6th electro bow we found. Found several carbines as well. They just really, really want me to use that electro bow. The Caves of Cud Gods. But I say no to them. It carried me halfway through the game and I'm done with it. Give me something else like a flamethrower. Just one-shotting everything right now. Just kind of poking our head down here in the depths of this ruin to see if there was anything good, but it looked like it was going to be a bunch of nothing. So, moving on, more ruins. Dromad merchant location, that's not bad. Give me something good. Nope. What do you have? Grenades. There's a turbo down there. It's only PV8, but kind of an interesting weapon. Blood gradient. Hand vacuum has a 6-bit in it. I was considering that for a minute. Mostly just trying to get rid of some of this extra weight that we have. So we're basically just trying to round ourselves out for Bethesda Susa, like I said. Go pick up one more ruin here probably, and then head over to the 6-day stilt. Get one more level, and then we'll probably call it good. Still looking to pick up pistol skills, just in case we ever want to disarm a really cool weapon turret. Can be a good way to make money, good way to get a different gun. Chances are we don't actually need it anymore, but we also don't need anything else. We have all the wayfaring we need. We have our heavy weapon skills. We're happy on the defenses. And, at this point, it's just like backups for backups in terms of skill point spend. Anything else we find at this point in the game is really just icing on the cake. We could absolutely finish the game right now with the gear we have, which, it speaks to the strength of good gear on a Truekin, even without cybernetics. Like, if you are used to playing Mutant and in the mindset of what is my combo, what's my build, what am I trying to do, that sort of thing. And then you see this character playing out like this, and it's just like, well, let's just find good gear and, have the skills to use it and the stats to use it. Try to tell me that Truekin isn't just better in that sense, right? Like our character is just good enough, it doesn't need to rely on any, flashy mutations or cool gimmicky cybernetics or anything like that. We just find the gear, use the vendors, get the gear, we haven't even modded anything at this point. We'd be looking to mod some things. If we really wanted to go above and beyond, we could put like electromagnetically shielded on some of our gear, like our shield, that's our force bracelet shield, and on our flamethrower would be a good idea. It's kind of overkill though. You're very rarely going to run into a problem like that. You could make gear lighter with willowy. You could add armor, maybe with reinforced or something like that. But on a build like this, all of that's kind of icing on the cake, in my opinion. It's just good enough. Like you've got enough HP, you've got enough defenses, your skills are well rounded. If you're scared or feeling a little weak at this point, you can just keep using Wayfaring to keep leveling up. We're going to check out this historic site one more time. Laser turrets. Just basic laser turrets. I mean, look at that. That shot us 4 times and never did any damage. Fantastic. Oh, why are you angry at us? Sure, take that and give me your loot, please. Anything good? Some water. Chrome revolver for some 2 bits. Why not? Hello, space-time vortex. What is the deal there? Like, is that kudzu unique? No, that vortex is just sitting there. Here's chain turrets, 3 of them. They have a little bit higher chance of actually doing damage to us, but not that much. They're still only PV9, I think, against our AV12, so still quite safe for us. See if we can disarm that. Yep. Free loot. If nothing else, these turrets are all worth good experience. Just about, well, half a level, I guess, on this one zone. Plus some books. Quite a few, actually. Hated by trees. Is that a deep slumberling in there? It's a little scary. There's level 19. Yeah, deep slumberling. Generally a very difficult enemy. Guess I'm feeling ballsy. We'll see if we can take him. Or really, the question is, how easily can we take him? And the answer, quite easily. 750 XP for that. Barely did any damage to us. Picked up a chair. Do I have a bunch of chairs I'm holding on to? Why am I so heavy? Ooh, all those chem cells. That's why. I like these ulnar stimulators. if you overclock them, they can give you even more stats, like multiple agility, multiple strength. Really good item. Certainly don't need honey for anything. Hello, Saulhander. Burn him down before he has a chance to cut us apart. Trapezing mortars. This is something I'm a little scared of. All right, I think that we're now ready for Bethesda Susa at this point. So we're going to end this video here-ish. And next time we'll be diving straight through it. We do have that spiral borer, if you remember. So we're going to take the shortcut and skip all the challenge with Bethesda Susa. And as I mentioned, we already have the sort of end game build that we're going for with the flamethrower. We have enough defenses and so on. So yeah, probably next video we'll do Bethesda and then round out our build before the end of the game. So I hope you'll join me in that video, and I'll see you then. Good luck out there.